It's bad enough to be an awful person who treats others poorly, but when you're literally studying psychology for the sole purpose of manipulation, I don't know if you're even human at that point. What's going on, everybody? My name is Animasu, and today I'll be going through Blue Lock chapter 261 with you all, titled Malice. If you watched through today's video and find that you enjoyed yourself, please support me by clicking that subscribe button, commenting below your thoughts, and also consider checking out my community Discord down below. Without further ado, let's get right into today's chapter, and I must warn you all, this just might convert you into an Alexis NESS fan. Oddly enough, the official scans don't seem to have any intro text like normal to bring us into the chapter. Instead, the first thing we see here is actually Michael Kaiser getting his iconic blue rose tattoo, obviously stemming from the lone flower his mother once left him. Dark is explaining how he heard about some kid who took out 7 police officers with a single soccer ball, which just sounds embarrassing for the police department, to be honest. Kaiser, however, just says he was finishing the fight that they dragged him into, as he was innocently just minding his business. With us then getting a close-up of Dark's drip collection, he seems to be happy with Kaiser's narcissistic attitude rather than upset. He explains that he's been traveling all over the world to help find people like Kaiser, unpolished soccer talent that he can help blossom. From there, the chapter then flashes forward to Ray and Michael standing out front of the Bachelor Munich training clubhouse. In a wholesome moment compared to what we've been seeing him go through, Ray tells Kaiser that he now has a place to call home, a place where he belongs. Before anything though, Kaiser must apparently pass some kind of pro-exam as a prerequisite for joining, which he does not mind. As he thinks back on his father drinking in the horrible environment he once grew up in, Michael is willing to do anything it takes to stay out of that hellhole. We then see all of Michael's new clubmates introducing themselves, and they all seem super friendly and excited to meet him, as apparently they've heard rumors about him. Kaiser, however, is just sitting there with the most unamused expression, as he's not used to interacting with normal humans. He believes them to practically be an entirely different species, because unlike him, these people were born because they were wanted. They even all crowd around him at the lunch table and shower him in compliments, going on about how cool his tattoo is while even bringing him food. For the first time in his life, Michael is being shown compassion and love, and yet despite this, the boy just throws it all away by launching his tray of food into the face of the new teammate. Obviously, they're all thrown off by this and extremely upset, but Kaiser just explains this to be a result of his awful childhood, as he never learned how to accept help. For him, it's just easier to live in a world of malice and hate, because that's just what the poor boy grew up around. We sadly see him legit kicking one of his teammates in the face, while gripping onto the jaw of another, starting a fight over just getting free food and compliments. As we then get a perspective change through a field of players, Kaiser says that he heard about soccer being a sport played by 11 people. He more than likely views this as a way to him to finally learn how to interact with humans. However, in the end, just the opposite happened. As we see him running up the field alongside the team in what seems to be practice or an away match, Kaiser realizes that people who are hated by their team do not get passes like everyone else. Who would have known? In order for him to survive in this environment the way that he treats people, Kaiser must develop the ability to fight all by himself, dependent on only his own soul. Even more than that, he must develop an overwhelming weapon, something to turn 0 into 1 and prove his existence to every corner of the soccer world. We witness some of his training here in the form of leg presses, push-ups, and other general exercises, but specifically this bottom right panel of him struggling I find to be hilarious. If I'm able to leg press like 400 plus pounds, so should this man. I mean, come on. Anyways, we then see him training that exact weapon he was previously speaking about, being his notorious Kaiser impact shot. While splashing shots into the back net like he normally does in training, Kaiser is aware that more than anything, he must be able to create impact to submit the team around him. It seems like he's talking purely here about training and making it through his own effort. However, he then says instead of wanting someone's goodwill, he'd rather just find a dog who he'll make submit through malice. We quite actually see him studying through some mind and psychology related books, as with no real grasp on human interaction, this man just decided to become Ayana Koji from Classroom of the Elite. Then flashing over to the Bachelor Munich tryouts we saw in NESS's backstory, Alexis is actually shown here from Kaiser's POV, looking all pathetic as we know. Being trampled over by the competition and left flopping through the air, NESS seems to be a good enough test subject for Kaiser as we see him watching from afar. Alexis NESS has amazing dribbling, passing, and a super active imagination, but above it all, Kaiser wants him due to his isolation. NESS is completely alone and on the brink of despair, making this the perfect opportunity for a knight in shining armor to present himself. Standing above Alexis NESS, who is lying on the ground, we see Michael Kaiser's point of view from when the two first met. It all plays out exactly like we remembered it told, with Michael recruiting Alexis to his side. However, the major difference comes in how they were thinking at the time. While Alexis NESS looked up and saw an angel, like a ray of hope in Kaiser, Michael looked down and saw the perfect opportunity to erode his heart and take control of this lost mutt. As we once again see Kaiser and NESS obliterating the competition at the Bachelor Munich tryouts, the narrator explains that over time, Michael slowly began to understand his true nature more and more. with everyone around him left watching in terror as he glances towards the goal. Kaiser enjoys this feeling of warping and hurting others through victory more than anything. He's even got this poor guy closing his eyes like he's afraid to witness a murder, showing us just how scary Kaiser was to these rookies. Speaking of scary, this next page literally has Kaiser looking like he came straight out of My Hero Academia, doing some kind of transformation into a god. Maybe like Cars from JoJo's, I don't know. With tentacle-like dark vines coming out from all around him, Michael decided that in order to prove his existence, he would use hate and malice to rule over others. As we see some horrific Junji Ito-like art at the bottom here, the narrator explains that Kaiser took great pleasure in eroding other people's hearts, to then live on as a scar in their heart. I don't know about you guys, but Hitoshisai does seem to be pretty scarred for life from whatever happened to him. So could it have really been Kaiser to do this? Destroying people's dreams, rewriting their sense of values, becoming a symbol of the impossible that taught them true despair. This is the kind of player and person that Kaiser strives to be, because it allows him to mask all that once happened to him. Since the moment he rebelled against those police officers and birthed his own identity, this is the single path Michael has walked down since that day. Doing this over time, he felt that he slowly became more human by taking away from others. Each time he harvested someone's despair and crushed their dreams, something was added onto him, almost as if to fill the void in his heart. Despite all of this, Kaiser would still frequently remember his father who he once hated so much. He eventually realized that his father only hurt him in order to maintain his own life, because it was all just a projection of his own self-hate. That's why instead of saying thank you, his father would hit him every day, and instead of saying he loved him, he would call him a piece of shit. Even moving on to the next page, Kaiser straight up admits that he's doing the exact same thing his father once did to him. Being unhappy with the world around him and unable to battle his trauma, Kaiser inflicts pain upon the world's soccer players in order to fill his own void. While thinking about this, however, calling himself a shitty human, Kaiser smiles to himself for some reason, almost happy with this hate-filled life. Also, I hate to be the one to have to ask this, but is this man butt booty naked in this panel? Because I would not want those prickly vines near me. Anyways, the chapter finally cuts back to the present Bastion Munich versus PXG match, and with the game resuming at 1-1, the game restarts with PXG in possession. The ball is immediately passed off in the direction of Alexis NESS, who we see running right for it alongside PXG's Nanase. NESS is luckily able to leap into the air and redirect the ball before Nanase can stop him, and we also see Shidou sprinting along in the background here. The pass from Alexis NESS obviously goes right over to Michael Kaiser, who successfully traps it with Karasu and Corona sprinting right behind him. NESS screams out telling him to go forth, because he knows that with this next shot, Kaiser will not miss. With a close-up of Michael's face here looking intensely, he realizes that at 35 meters out, he's just barely out of range to shoot for goal. If he can just get 3 to 5 more meters closer and stop the ball in place, he believes he can actually make it. That's the least of his worries now though, because with Hitoshi-rin approaching quickly from his left, Isagi Yoichi is also running alongside his right, screaming for him to keep moving. He was trying to make him aware of Rin stalking him from his back left, but with even Hitoshi-rin himself saying that they're too late, we see him dive in and clear the ball away from Bastion Munich's aces. This panel reminds me heavily of in the Munchen game when Isagi and Kaiser first reached a point at the same time due to metavision, which really makes me think, could this be intentional to tease Hitoshi-rin having metavision too? Anyways, as Raichi and Nanase scream out to their teams, we see Kaiser flopping to the ground here while seething in anger. Everything he's gained by winning is now all being stolen away and destroyed by Isagi, and at the rate things are going, he'll soon lose it all. As Michael begins to stand up from his fall, Isagi actually calls out to him while turning to make eye contact. You get it, don't you, Kaiser? This team isn't yours anymore, so kneel to me, you shitty clown. In this absolutely perfect final panel, Isagi seems to be the real person bringing despair in this match rather than Kaiser, as these words cut deeper than you could ever imagine. Just as he once promised, Isagi is taking everything Kaiser once had for himself, and with this being the final Neo Egoist League match, all that's left now is Alexis NESS and his Real Madrid bid. With the title for upcoming chapter 262 being 0 as well, this could possibly be in reference to Kaiser's upcoming bid after this game. No, but all jokes aside, I think this is talking about the whole concept of turning 0 to 1, and how Kaiser will have to break himself down before evolving further. Let me know what your thoughts and theories are down in the comments, because I'm currently working on a video talking about the future for Kaiser and NESS and Blue Lock. Anyways, with that sadly being the end of today's chapter and video, I just want to thank you all so much for tuning in and watching all the way through. If you enjoy the content I push out and would like to support me, please go ahead and click that subscribe button, comment below for the algorithm, and even join my community Discord down below. Please go on to have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video where we'll be ranking every Blue Lock volume cover.